nutritionist. I don't know. He's something that's fake. It seems like it's real, but it's not. That's why I'm like, he's chew on basil. All you gotta do is chew on basil, and you'll be protected against this thing.
You know, the Svengali showed the original Dracula Saturday night,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to admit, I don't think I'd ever seen it. That's like a movie that you've seen, 10 seconds of it in your life. You just see
Forever,
Bela
yeah.
Lugosi, right?
Doing something like that, and then
But that's not the movie. And I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched about the first 45 minutes of it. It's really pretty brilliantly directed, and it's, by the way, it's directed by Victor Fleming, the guy who did The Wizard of Oz, which
geez.
he flopped with that one. But this was
he never came back from that. It was the water world of our time, of that era.
It was. Yeah. All right, we're in business. We are in business. All right.
I'm ready when you are.
Let's get a little light action in here. How's that?
Yeah, improve your light situation.
Oh, Brighton. There we go. All right. It is the Brad and Britt cast for this day, beginning this week. We're glad you're with us. Live in the 1:30 hour on Facebook and YouTube and something else. Doesn't matter.
Something else.
It just doesn't matter. That doesn't.
Anywhere you want to go.
It doesn't matter. All I know is that you and I, for the about 15th straight year, we got shut out at the Emmy Awards last year.
Yeah.
Can I just say something? And we hate watched it. Okay, we hate watched it.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much, because there's so many things I hate watch. Usually Dallas Cowboys games and Alabama Crimson Tide games. That's my hate watching love right there.
Right. But the good thing is about 80% of it we had, DVR'd in there, so we didn't have to watch the commercial breaks, which is very helpful, and it enables you to knock out all the speeches.
Oh, good. Yeah.
By people that you've really sort of either never heard of or didn't watch the show and don't care about. So
don't care.
It was an efficient watch, but a hate watch nonetheless. They really have to just stop. Just stop with these shows.
Yeah.
There's just nothing left. There is nothing left for them to say. Yeah. There is nothing original left for them to present. You know what the big production value original idea was?
It was like a hip hop salute to TV or something at the end. Didn't they do something like that?
No. I'm not. Yeah, but it's just Drek. That's just shit. Okay, but normally the pattern is, of course, two presenters or three. Here is so and so and they walk out and they try to be funny or they say something, and then one of them straightens out and says, "All right, here are the nominees for Best Supporting Actress in a comedy," and they run the video of the 5 nominees or the 8 and little clips, right? And then the person opens the envelope, okay, and says, and the winner of the award. Oh, no, they don't use the word winner. No, that's insulting. That
the Emmy goes to. Is that what they say?
Emmy goes, right? Of course. But they did it differently this time.
Yeah.
This time, they said nothing when they would make the transition from, say, the last person making an acceptance speech. You'd see immediately 5 or 6 clips from a category that you had to really be paying close attention because you had to see it written on the side walls of the room. So you didn't know and then a person would walk out and give the award. They thought that it's like they flipped the order to make it as if doing it correctly in order forever that sucked. So, quote, we have to come up with a new way to do it. So you don't announce the category until after the category has been shown in video. It was just, I know it must be that I'm old. I get it. Everything that they do that's fucked up is not fucked up because I'm old and I don't understand formatting and I don't understand pacing.
Yeah,
I know that. I understand
that is the
that,
issue.
But
yeah,
that is the issue. But it was so badly done. It was just horrible.
How did Cedric do as the host? Was Cedric okay?
He's fine. He's good, but he really had no material to work with. He really didn't. I mean, he's a funny guy and a little, but look, and you and I, we watch a decent amount of TV, but you can't watch every series. You can't watch every Netflix show.
No, you
can't even watch some of the most popular ones. Sometimes you can't. I didn't see The Queen's Gambit, and I haven't watched The Crown. Okay.
How much have you actually seen Ted Lasso? Have you seen any of that?
Apparently, I'm the only one. We're the only two people in America that watched an episode or two and said, "We're done. We're out. We don't care."
I got to tell you. I got to tell you.
I greatest show ever.
There's
no, Britt. It is.
It's easy to see. That's the cynicism that they actually beat, which is weird. Like in these extremely cynical times, somehow that show captures something that you can't knock down, and that's what I really admire about that show. I think it's very funny.
I can knock it down because I haven't watched it. See.
That's like criticizing
a book that I haven't read.
Clearly, it's not about you. Now, I find the show to be there's a certain writing and a certain tone on that show that it's so different than anything else that's out there.
I'm now going to be real here for just a second. Obviously, it must be a pretty good show. Just haven't watched it much. Okay, I'm going to grant that, but they cannot. These award shows, particularly the Emmys, they cannot. In a year where there are hundreds of shows, at least, that come on, many of them are really, really good. They can't boil down their award shows to 3 or 4 programs that every person on that show gets nominated for every category.
Yeah, that's what they do. That's the point of the show.
It's insufferable.
That's the point of the show.
That is insufferable.
That's why
it's an insult to every other person who works in it just sucks. It sucks.
Are we really upset that every other person in television got shit on? Because I don't know. That's one of those I don't care about that.
I made a vow. We are never watching these shows again. We're done.
Well, that's a good call.
We're done with award shows.
I don't think it's for you. I don't think it. I mean, I think you can justify.
Wait a minute. What is not for you? No,
it's not for you.
It's too old, Britt. Fuck you. Fuck you.
No, you're too much of an asshole. It's not got anything to do with your age. It's like
I'm just an asshole.
Well, I mean, and it did. We do sound like the old guys on the porch, but there was a certain thing about it 40 years ago where it was like, let's just say 35 years ago. I'll pick a real current time where it was like, man, you just never get to see all of these stars together at one time. And you would watch the Emmys or you'd see the Grammys, like, here's all these stars together at one time. Now they're all over they do shit all the time, and they're like in your face all the time, and you can watch them anytime you want to. So the specialness of that, like Norm Macdonald dies last week. How many hours and hours and hours and hours? I've watched a lot of just Norm Macdonald shit on YouTube anytime I want to. Name a talk show that he was on. The Benevolent Gardener in Flint, Michigan. Okay, I've got 3 hours of that. So it's just not. There's no specialness to like watching these people together, and you get to see them all the time. And frankly, you get sick of them. I'm sick of these people. So obviously, I think you could justify like an Oscars maybe. But the rest of them are like, I don't need it. Don't want it. Don't care.
Everything. There's a time to live and a time to die. There's a time for award shows and a time for them to just end.
Just go away.
Stop it. No,
I think
just stop it.
Isn't the point of like the Emmys is like, we're just going to have the 3 minutes where we talk about the people who died. Here's Norm Macdonald. Here's Cloris Leachman. Here's Alex Trebek. Isn't that what they do? Is they roll and that's the point of the show. And then they end up blowing that. They always end up blowing that. They always leave somebody out at the Oscars or the Grammys or something that they should have had in there, and then people get pissed off about that, right?
No, but what could possibly justify the method by which
Right.
you nominate, 7 deep into a show and no one else did anything worthwhile in that category of best supporting actor? Every other show, not one person, just like 6 or 7 people from one show. Come on.
Well,
By the way, yeah.
There seems to be like, there is kind of like a zeitgeist where they go, this is the show that we're going to love this year. And maybe like one other one.
Just stop it.
We'll put one comedy, and then like the Academy Awards was always really good at this. Like for a while, it was like, this is the black movie we love this year. Okay, everybody on board? This is it. No other black movies we're going to like. Nominate these, and you can give an award to maybe one person, but this is the black movie we're going to put forward. With like 3 really good movies that are black movies came out. No, this is the one. We've decided this is the one. And they would do that on a number of years. Yeah, I don't.
That was wrong then, and now no white people can win. So, we got to kind of
no white people can win.
Yeah, but okay.
Speaking of white people and not winning, do you have any?
Is Trump coming down the tracks here?
No,
white people who didn't win.
I'm wondering your take, because I think you've been rather eloquent in past years about this. The young lady who has met her end apparently in Wyoming, and then the boyfriend has disappeared, and it has become, I think, to put it mildly, a media obsession, if I may use that term. Do you have any particular take about why this is like something that the media has especially glommed onto?
I think you know the answer. You know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, and it's not original, but it's true. It's because there's this wonderfully sexy, hot video of her that they can show over and over and over again. And she's blonde and she's thin and she's in a nice shirt, and it's outside and it's beautiful and it's America. And for the life of me, why can't they stop? Why can't they stop covering this story in that fashion where, for instance, if we were covering it right now, you and I would be squeezed over to 20% of the left side of the screen, and the other 80% would be the video of her out in Utah in the van, living the life over and over. She's dead now, and they're still showing it. She's dead. What the? And it's not a coincidence, but this comes the week after the Wall Street Journal did what could turn out to be a Pulitzer Prize winning series of 5 long pieces about Facebook and how they know exactly what they're doing and how they drive teenage girls nuts, some of them to commit suicide because they see, well, how shall I say it? Girls like Gabby living the great life. I wish I could do that. I wish my life. And it's almost sick that very same week she disappears. And what do? Because they're getting all that video, all those pictures off of either her Facebook or her Instagram account, right?
Well,
that's where it's coming from.
It's beautiful, high quality video too. It's like 4K or whatever, and I think that part of it, as far as the media goes, you can just be lazy and run some really high quality video of, as you say, a really good looking girl, and that's going to make people stop and pay attention anyway. That does
bring up the fact, and it's a true fact, that on a given weekend in Chicago, 8 people will have been gunned down. They will die. Almost all of them will be black. None of them will have the aura of Gabby Petito, and there will be no video of them living the life. And so you will never hear their names, and there will be no obsession. And if one of them went missing, it would not be a story. So it's horrible. It's just horrible. Now, of course, from a personal standpoint, I'm kind of upset because I'm having trouble concentrating on that story and the South Carolina whack job lawyer.
Yeah, the
murder
Murdaws or whatever that thing
What?
is. Yeah.
What, we go weeks and weeks without anything exciting, and then we're overrun with 2 at a time. I can't concentrate.
Well,
please, consecutive, not concurrent. Consecutive.
That has that story to me has all of, it's like if you took a Faulkner novel and you cheapen the shit out of it, right? That's what that thing. It's like Faulkner meets Pat Conroy in the backseat of some trashy romance novel is what that thing looks like. It's like, it's got the antebellum South, and it's got, people who were desperate, and then there's maybe some sex involved. There's definitely some money involved, and it's just that one has everything. And I don't even want to get into why does the media cover this, and why don't they just say if people ate 3 Brussels sprouts a day, they could live to be there tonight? I don't even get into that.
No,
it does
story.
It's a hand wringer. It's just a massive hand wringer.
Yeah, this story is you can't turn away from it, especially because almost every day some new branch comes off the tree. So yeah, it's bizarre. It's weird. It's everything. So
there's but there's also like a serial people who are bored with their own lives. This is the headline on Fox News. Who were Brian Laundrie's parents? Now I'm assuming Brian Laundrie is the boyfriend, and I'm supposed to have the program, and I'm supposed to know who they are, and then I'm supposed to care who his parents are, and then I check that box. And then Bobby came today, and he said that he saw Brian with a bloody shirt. Or I don't know all these people.
No, you don't have to care. You don't have to care. Nobody's telling you to care. That's just, but it either is or it isn't. You don't have to follow that.
What does it say about like us as a country that this has been an obsession? This is what is like stealing headlines all over the place, and we are devoting an inordinate amount of time to this and a lot of hand-wringing of this particular story. What does it say about us as a society?
I don't think it says anything. We've been doing this forever. Lindbergh's baby got kidnapped, and it was,
at least he was a famous guy, though. At least it was like, well, at least it's somebody famous.
Oh, so you have to be,
yeah.
Whoa,
well, and if you are, right, and if you do disappear, make sure you're cute. That would be, I suppose, the lesson of this
definitely
thing.
Is important. That is really, and if we can go even further, make sure you're blonde. Blonde helps.
There was always, the word white. That always did come in there, because there was always this thing about the media or whatever caring about if you're a white girl and you disappear, that's extremely important, but everything else is screwed.
So Britt, early Saturday morning, I get this text message from an old friend of my older brothers, from 100 years ago, from living in Cleveland in the 60s, right?
Right.
He texts me. He says, so what do you think's going to happen in Washington today, meaning Saturday? At the thing. And I said to him, this early Saturday, I said, well, the way it looks, I can already see the headline: more media than protesters. Media outnumbers protesters. And of course, then Fox will take that to the next level, which is media melts down over non-event. Lefty media, right? They turn it into,
they're disappointed there wasn't a riot. They're disappointed somebody didn't die and there wasn't a riot or something like that. That's how they kind of portray that one.
So my take on it was, that was a turnout. That turnout was so lame. If we would have had that at one of our radio remotes, we would have been in trouble with the advertiser. There weren't enough people there. Okay, there's nobody showed up. And why would you? How stupid were they? Wasn't the charge? And of course, Trump jumped in on this early on. It's a false flag. They're trying to trick you into getting arrested. Right. So was this a very clumsy version of the thing where they used to dangle Super Bowl tickets? They would put out the word that there were Super Bowl tickets available if you come to this ballroom at the Marriott at 3:00 on Tuesday.
And if you had an outstanding warrant or probation violation, they'd nab you.
It was a sting. It was a sting, and they would arrest all these people. I don't think so. And,
is it also? But I think it also can be kind of broadly when you put it together with the California recall thing that fizzled out. The influence of Donald John Trump Sr. is going down the tubes. I mean, it seems like his ability to even manipulate the people he's supposed to be able to manipulate seems to be dying, right?
No, I completely 180 degrees disagree with that.
Okay, make your case. I want to hear this.
No, that you should not judge the passion and the level of hate and racism and anger and want to overthrow the United States government here in September as it relates to what happened in January by how many people did not show up at a well-advertised, well-defended United States Capitol this time, where nothing was going to happen if someone tried something except something really bad. If you wanted to die, it was a good place to go. If you thought you were going to try to recreate, if you're going to do a reenactment, right? Or is it too soon now to do reenactments of January 6th? They dress up like those people. Will there be the shaman guy with the horns? You
mean like a Civil War?
Yes.
Which side do you want to be on? Do you want to be on this side or that?
You can dress like a cop, right? Or you can dress right. It's not funny.
We have to get the right period piece on that one. Make sure you have the steal the election T-shirt and the shaman thing. And all that stuff.
I mean, look at the detail that the Civil War reenactors go to get it right. They're very fastidious about it, and with all the video that exists of what happened on January 6th, I mean, you can nail this down. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a Halloween costume this year, right?
No, so you don't. I mean, it just seems like at some point the man and obviously the recall was a complete joke in California, a complete joke that cost millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. But nonetheless, Gavin Newsom pretty easily and beat back the challenge from Larry Elder. We hardly knew you, Larry. But
yes.
It seemed like it was a big deal. I'm very happy that they were able to get Democratic voters to come out in California. That was the key to the whole thing. But I don't know if this man, other than getting them to buy MAGA T-shirts and hats, I don't know what his influence is on these people anymore.
Well, I think it's a big deal. And the proof is soon to be former representative from Northern Ohio, Anthony Gonzalez. Former star athlete at The Ohio State University. I think he played for Indianapolis for a few years in the NFL, and
he did.
His career ended. He got injured, I think, about 4 or 5 years in, and he's in his late 30s. He's a pretty young guy.
That's right.
And he's one of the 10 that voted for impeachment in the House of Representatives back in January. He's one of the 10, and I guess within about 2 seconds of his vote, the death threats started coming into him, to his family, and by definition, approved by Donald Trump. Go after this guy.
Sure.
And destroy his life and make sure that he does not win re-election, let alone his primary before, if he were to make it through the primary. And Gonzalez said, I'm out. I'm done. My family's mournful. By the way, this is the actual true definition of a guy retiring to spend more time with his family. He wasn't lying because he didn't want his family to get injured. He didn't want to get injured himself. But when you have a thug, when you have a mafia boss, this is how he takes revenge. And apparently he still has enough sway with enough people to do enough damage in this country at whatever level you want to pick to completely have the whatever is left of the Republican Party enraptured enough to take those kinds of measures to cleanse the party, to cleanse the party of people like Anthony Gonzalez, who would just remember who he is. He was a guy that voted, in the high 90s, along with Trump, for the couple of terms that he was in office. He was on board. He was a team player. He knows how to be a team player, right? But that's not good enough, because if you show some backbone and you vote your conscience and you do the right thing for your country, well, that's not what Trumpism is all about, right? That's not doing the right thing. It's doing whatever Donald Trump feels like and doing whatever makes him feel good. And if you don't do something that makes him feel good, then you're on his permanent shit list and you must be erased, eliminated, destroyed. So I would say that what happened with Anthony Gonzalez and did you see what Trump did? He sent out his little message through his. He goes 1 down, 9 to go.
9 to go.
Okay. Yeah. He sent some asshole thing out like that. So at that level, he still has a lot of influence, and there's still a lot of loyalty to him, and there's still a lot of Trump Kool-Aid out there that's being drunk every day. And you see all the polls of the number of Republicans who do not think Joe Biden is the legitimate president of the United States. Now, where does that come from? It doesn't come from a subscription to Better Homes and Gardens. It's not in there everywhere. No, it's not. It came from Trump. It continues to come from Trump. And, so I would not for 1 second take the sparse turnout on Saturday as meaning anything. You know what that is to them? It's a time to regroup. It's a time to do it smarter and faster. And next time, we're not going to ask for any kind of permit. We're just going to attack. Who knows? Who knows what their plans are? Who knows? I thought that they would. I thought they'd fan out across the country to state houses and cause trouble in Raleigh or in in Atlanta or Austin, but they didn't do that. Now, on the other hand, you could be 100% right, and I could be wrong, and it is just down to a few hundred people, and the rest of America really has come to its senses, and they want to move on and fight. No, that's not true.
There is a who's afraid of the big bad wolf element to this. At some point, it does dissipate, and I'm not dismissing his ability to try to select candidates in certain districts that would not win in a general election unless the Republicans have gerrymandered the shit out of a particular district, which is what their wet dream is. I think he's going to try to select. You're going to get a Lauren Boebert. You're going to get some of those people. You're going to get a Marjorie Taylor Greene for sure in places where they would be safely elected. But in some cases, he's going to be able to give his blessing to some of these wackadoos that are not going to be able to win even in a majority Republican district, because even the Republicans are going to go, this guy's a shit show, or this woman's a shit show.
I think the half-life on the people you just named, may be shorter than they think.
Yeah,
because these are not really smart people.
No,
and they may not realize that you don't survive out on the fringes forever. And since things move a lot faster than they used to, you could be, and I'll give a perfect example of someone who was like Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, but of a earlier generation, not that much earlier. Steve King was in Iowa, and his district, I think, was the northwest corner of Iowa.
Right.
Not exactly a high-profile congressional district.
No.
And he would win, and it's a very rural part of Iowa. It doesn't include any, I don't think, major cities of note. And he would get reelected time after time after time. And he, in his own way, was as disgusting as they are now. He really was. I mean, he was just a racist old coot, but he kept getting, and then finally, he got beat.
Mm.
He got beat in a primary. And,
the Republican Party, after he made some terrible remarks, they were forced to disown him, at least show an arm's length.
Right. And so you might be right that this time it's different because the whole party isn't exactly repudiating the worst of them. So, but within those districts, those people do not have unanimous support at all. And there are opposition candidates that are going to run. And just imagine the video that you have to choose from to piece together commercials that you can send out through social media and on TV of the craziest things that have been said by these folks from the Boeberts and the Marjorie Taylor Greenes. And of course, the first, you know what, that just makes them people like that even more. That's why we'll see.
Well, again, but
we
again,
will
the story on Fox is, oh my God, Nancy Pelosi can't control AOC and the squad. Meanwhile, Kevin McCarthy he can't control the Jim Jordans and the Matt Gaetzes and the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Lauren Boeberts. And to the casual observer, they go, well, see, they're all the same. These people have the squad. These people have these crazy, and they're not the same. There's not the same, because the people over here, the Boeberts and the Marjorie Taylor Greens, they helped foment an insurrection and had people looking for blood to kill Mike Pence and Nancy Pelosi and a lot of other lawmakers on January the 6th. That's the difference between those two groups of people, is that these people inspired an insurrection to overthrow the government violently, and these people wear stupid ass dresses to the Met Gala. That would be the difference between those two
same
groups.
Thing. It is the same thing, of course.
That's the difference between those two groups of people, which brings me to the documentarian Ken Burns. Of course, he's promoting the new Muhammad Ali thing, and he appears on the Jason Sudeikis podcast and the Will Arnett podcast and the Jason Bateman podcast, saying that this is one of the worst times ever in American history. He says current times equal the Civil War, Brad. That is what Ken Burns is now saying, and of course he's studied a bit of American history. I've said over the past several years, if there was a Facebook in the 1860s, what might have it look like, and would it look like anything like what you're seeing today? Would it have been the sort of stuff on Facebook, Twitter, any kind of social media? Would it have been the kind of stuff that you are seeing today?
Well, I don't think you have to try to project backwards the technology of today back then, because if you read and you see what Ken Burns does, you can find plenty of vitriol and anger and hate, written and spoken in those eras, that got the message out really much in the same way that we're able to do it now, just obviously not at the speed of light and not with it at everyone's fingertips. But we always think whatever we're going through is unique. It's the worst ever. It's the 500-year flood. Oh my God, it's never been like this. And yes, it was. You want to think it was way different and way worse then, because it ended up in a shooting war with a bunch of states leaving the Union. And I don't see any movement for secession right now. I don't see any of these states wanting to leave the United States of America. So that's certainly a big difference. But in terms of the division of people and the way they feel, and try to project, well, what was it like if in your family, you were anti-slavery and your buddy was cool with slavery? I mean, to me, I think that could be pretty intense. I can't be sure, but I think it could have been
fairly intense. You think?
Families, brother against brother. I mean, remember what that Civil War was? Okay,
yeah. Brothers killing each other. Sure.
So, I mean, Ken
But
Burns.
you are certainly seeing family. You're seeing families that have been irrevocably damaged. You're seeing people that will never talk to each other again that share DNA. That's happening in our time because of quote unquote politics, which is always my favorite thing. It's really got less to do with politics than it does trying to murder people.
Well, but I do think if you want to just paint in the broadest brush possible here, Trump is way worse than any Confederate leader from Jefferson Davis to you can't, because he was the president of the United States. He was the president, and he is stoking and primarily responsible for what we have right now. That's not to say that there was perfect love and harmony and unity in the United States until 2017. Nobody's saying that. But we've never had somebody who was the president of the United States spend not only the term in office that they serve, but their post-presidency trying to destroy and rip apart the country for whatever reason. In this case, it's service to himself, because he's a narcissistic, fool, sick human being. And we've never had that. Mm-hmm. So Ken Burns, I haven't seen the interview or read the piece. I'm kind of hard pressed to say there's no way. he very well could be right that these are unique times.
This is the quote. It's really serious. There are 3 great crises before this: the Civil War, the Depression, and World War II, and this is equal to it. Yeah. He says on that podcast with those gentlemen we talked about earlier.
And you know what we have not had. All right, I don't think we're going to have a shooting civil war, because the states. You might think of Texas as a red state, but it's not that red. Okay. Elections are won, 52 to 48. Okay.
And
the
large cities like Houston and San Antonio are certainly blue, and Austin, but Dallas, not so much.
Right. But you can't have the geographic setup now that there was when the southern states seceded, and I would assume, for the most part, everybody was on board in those states. I mean, I don't think you had a bunch of northern sympathizers inside the Confederacy doing all kinds of harm.
In a sense, we've already had a shooting. I mean, January the 6th, there was a shooting kind of situation.
Right, but that wasn't that was not a war.
It seemed like a precursor. Between the states. Seems like a precursor or a foreshock. Again,
right? They would like it to be, but
there's not, and that's the other thing is there's not clearly drawn boundaries. Like, all of the people who love Donald Trump, you guys stay in this square, and they were intermingled a lot more, for sure. But yeah, these are ugly times.
But what we have not had is political assassination.
Mm-hmm.
And political assassination changes a lot of things. I mean, if you want to, I guess there's a show that's coming on, I've seen the promos for it 1 million times now on NBC, called Ordinary Joe. It appears that the show is about what would have happened if you would have taken the right fork in the road instead of the left fork and lived your life this way or another way. Well, we all think that and know that it's true about the Kennedy assassination. Had John F. Kennedy not been assassinated in 1963, where would the country have gone? Where would it have been in 1966? Would we have gone to Vietnam?
Right.
Would we, and so you can lose your mind. You can lose your mind, and just a couple of bullets from one guy change the trajectory of the country. We've not had that now. But if someone at a very high level were to be assassinated, what would that do? I don't think this time, no matter who that person was, if it were, say, one of the 2 candidates in 2020, that you would see the public outpouring of grief in a universal sense like there was when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. You will not see that. You will not see the equivalent, right? But you won't see the equivalent of that film and that video of the train carrying JFK's casket that traveled all the way north.
You studied history. There was a fair amount of hatred for John Kennedy too, and there were some people who weren't going to take his death as this chance to mourn. They were going to. There was a fair amount of hate toward John Kennedy for trying to integrate schools and stuff like that, particularly in the South.
Yeah, but when he was shot, he became a martyr of history.
It happens.
And if Biden or Trump met the same fate, do you think either of them would move into the pantheon of presidents?
That's a different.
That's right. But that's the point.
But we do have the driest tinderbox ever right now. I mean, and if that flame hits, if that spark hits, then I don't know. I certainly hope that's not something that happens, because I don't want to find out. Because right now,
no, we don't want that. We don't want anything like that.
Things are boiling.
I just want Trump to drop dead. It would be nice.
I mean, again, how is Norm Macdonald dead at the age of 61 or whatever, and Donald Trump's still alive? Speaking of people,
I mean, the best way for Trump to check it would be at a rally. Okay.
Just keel over from a heart attack.
To keel. Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
then they go, oh, as it turns out, I guess eating Big Macs and chicken nuggets your whole life is bad for your heart.
I mean, there have been a few people in show business who died on stage.
Yeah.
There's been a few cases.
There was a few wrestlers who died in the ring too.
Right?
Like
Yeah.
that was like their last thing. It'd be nice.
Yeah. So that would work. That would work pretty well, and then that would take out the the conspiracy theories. If he just right there on stage, that would be a good way.
And of all the people that are overdosing, is there anybody in his family we can think of who would overdose? I'm trying to remember. I don't know. Speaking of death, average daily deaths in the United States passing 2,000, Brad. This is the huge story right now as we are overwhelmed, obviously, with the Delta variant. Well, and people who are still vaccine resistant. I think, aren't we nationally around 63, 64%, something of that nature for those who are fully vaccinated? The numbers in North Carolina are just a couple of percentage points behind the national average. And I think we are very similar to the nation in that we have certain counties like the one we live in that are doing okay, that are up in the 60s or whatever. And then we have counties that surround us that are in the 40s. And they have been stuck there for the longest time.
We're in Guilford County. The number of deaths just in Guilford is past 800 total.
Yeah.
I think over the weekend, and that sounds like a lot to me.
It's a bunch.
That is a bunch, and I saw that the national numbers we have moved into. Sadly, North Carolina has moved into the top 10 currently of new cases.
Jeez,
we're so it's terrible. Now, see that here's a story. This is pretty current. We have a North Carolina firefighter and his wife who died of COVID. He died. His name's Jeffrey Hager. His wife, named Amy, died a week later. They both tested positive on August 23rd. On September 10th, they were still in the hospital. And they have 4 kids, ages 6, 7, 13, and 14. There was a GoFundMe page set up, and Amy, the mom's parents, wrote this. And you'll notice so far I haven't told you whether they're vaccinated or not. And
no.
What that always means is they weren't vaccinated. Whenever it is.
Spoiler alert, everybody.
Right, but they weren't. To our dear friends and family, it is with broken hearts that we share this with you. Our precious Amy has lost the battle with this horrible COVID. She is no longer in pain or struggling to breathe. Her lungs are filled with the sweet breath of Jesus, our Lord and Savior. I know that Jeff was standing at the gates because, as you know, he had died just a week before. He was standing at the gates of heaven with a sly smile, wanting to give her a big hug and a kiss. If you're not vaccinated, please go and get it. You cannot be replaced. Don't leave your families behind to deal with this kind of pain and grief. So that's a tacit admission that these two adults, one a firefighter whose job it is to save people's lives, were not vaccinated. And
but can I give the idiot? I want to give the idiot response to that. What about Chris Rock? What about that? I just want to give the dumbest possible response.
Is Chris Rock in the hospital on a ventilator? No, he's not.
He got vaccinated. He still got it. So why should I get vaccinated? I can still get it.
Right. Obviously, if you're still saying that, there is no hope for you.
You're done.
And these two people have now left 4 orphans.
Yeah.
And nothing will ever change that. Nothing will ever turn it around. And to me, it's just unforgivably irresponsible. Okay. And I know that they want to be sensitive and maybe not include in this piece their vaccination status, but they should. It's not about being sensitive or not. It should be in there. It absolutely should be part of the story. Because guess what? If they were, by the way, remember, if they were vaccinated, they go out of their way to say, in spite of the fact that they were vaccinated, they got a breakthrough case.
Right.
They would love to point out some people that are dying of breakthrough cases, but they're hard to find. because
I
they're
have
hard.
I have some friends who are paramedics and EMTs and firefighters and cops and deputies. And when you enter that life, there are certain sacrifices and things that you do and you make, and you willingly do that because this is what you want to do with your life. This is what you care about. And it seems to me the entrance exam also includes getting this vaccination. And to me, that's fairly low on the list of sacrifices that you're making. For example, if you're a cop, the idea that you can go out at night and get shot pretty much anytime you go on any call, that's baked in the cake, right? This is so far down that as far as the level of risk involved in taking this vaccine, it's infinitesimal, right? So that, to me, that is one of those things that you have to sacrifice. If you ever had a reservation about science, medicine, vaccines, or anything of the sort, that is shoved aside because this is what you've decided to do with your life. You take an oath as an officer, and that's part of the deal.
Yep.
Sorry.
But the idea, by the way, T-Berry, the dog, not vaccinated. I'm just telling you.
You got to work on that.
My dog.
He's getting pissed off. He wants you to take him down to CVS right now.
Right. The idea that getting vaccinated is a quote unquote sacrifice is so stupid. Yeah. That one's too stupid to talk about. No,
well, but it also is something. If we try to frame it in the idea of, okay, you don't want to do it for yourself because you're scared, but yes, you do need to do it for your community. You do that. I mean, if I can appeal to you on the idea that, why don't you do it for your family, your loved ones, your neighbors, the people that you care about in your community? Can I appeal to you on that level? So yeah, in that sense, you can look at it as some sort of sacrifice. I don't want to do it for me. No. Okay, but what about your grandkids? No. What about that?
No, I just don't think you can give that much space.
Yeah.
You cannot give that much space. Can I finish?
Yes, please.
The story that I told last Thursday.
Yeah.
Of the guy working on my house.
Yes.
Who was unvaccinated.
I'm just getting information. He's still sorting through the information.
Right. So this a young guy in his 40s, got a family, and he did some work. He cleaned our driveway. You know, I like to get the grit and dirt off my driveway every 20 years, whether it needs it or not.
Oh,
anyway,
good call. Outstanding.
He did a really fantastic job, and got crap off of my house and the rest. And he worked so hard that he could not finish the job on Friday, and he came back Saturday to finish the job. That's a lot. I mean, many hours, and we agreed on a price, and it was a good bargain for me, and he was happy to get the work. And I told you we had this conversation, and he's not vaccinated. He just doesn't know what to do. He doesn't want to make a mistake, and I just it's experimental, and right. all the run through your list. Just go through your list of things, and then at the very end, he said, "Well, it would be the mark of the beast to get it on my arm and the rest." And I'm not trying to argue with him. And he got done finally, and I'd paid him half the first day that he did the job, and then I was going to pay him the balance the next day. And I wrote him a check the second day, and I threw in an extra $60. And I said to him, "This is what I want you to do. I want you to get vaccinated and then go out and celebrate with a great dinner on me."
This is amazing.
$60.
That's amazing.
Wait a minute. Wait. And then I said, "I want you to take a picture of your vaccination card and send it to me, because I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get vaccinated, and you're going to do what all of us, every one of us, did after we walked out of there, particularly after our second shot, if we were getting the Moderna or the Pfizer shot, is you feel this sense of relief.
Yes.
Even though you're a couple weeks away from full immunity, but you feel so good about it, and you will feel that way. So when you do that, you go out, get dinner, take your wife out to dinner, and then send me a picture of it. Now, is that going to work? Because I did not confront him. I didn't, we did not argue with him. I just went through it.
Dumb son of a bitch! How stupid! Get off my! Here's your money. Fuck you.
Right. And I said, I do want you around in case I need this done in a couple of years again.
It's all about me.
Yeah, which is actually, I think that's right. I don't care what happens to you. I just want you to, I want you to be alive so you can come back to my house and do more shit work.
You should apply that to the border crisis. Like, let a couple of these Haitians over because I'm going to need somebody to clean my yard here in a few years. So if you can just let a couple of them, send the rest of them back. That's fine. But no, I think that's a great approach. I think that's the spoonful of sugar that we need instead of trying to force. I think that's very positive. That's a good way to go.
No, but the funny thing is, I stopped the check before he could cash it. It's really funny.
What is this check you speak of?
Yeah. What are checks? Right? What are checks?
Oh, it's a good Monday show. We'll see you guys tomorrow.